Welcome to Carrying Wayward, a supernatural podcast for fans who aren't ready to let go and newcomers to the series who are ready to jump in. I'm Marie Vigourou.
And I'm Drew Schulman. In this episode, we're diving into Supernatural Season 9, Episode 12, Sharp Teeth. Let's get this show on the road.
As always, before we start, we really want to take a moment to thank all of our patrons and all of our coffee subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support, for your renewed support, for your new support. We'll just take the support no matter the qualifier, basically.
Any support is good support in my books. And like we mentioned last week, if you're feeling generous around the holidays, you can gift a membership to a supernatural loving person in your life. Or if you're the supernatural loving person, you can ask for patron memberships to Carrying Wayward as a holiday gift. I bet we fit well in a stocking.
I know, right? I bet we fit well in a stocking. I do love that, actually. Are we ready for the recap?
Count me down.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Bringing in the sheaves.
We have Garth back. What a bonus. Everyone's favorite boy. Slash Wolfman, because it turns out he was attacked by a werewolf during a hunt and became a werewolf and was like ready to take care of it. I will say in air quotes for politeness now. But then before he could do the act, he met someone, also a werewolf, a born werewolf, not a bitten werewolf. That's a whole thing we're gonna learn about here in the werewolf lore, because hell yeah, more werewolf lore. And she's part of a crazy religious order, but a little bit on the kooky side, because it's werewolves, not because religious. Anyways, and it turns out there's a sect of like bad werewolves in the good werewolves, like wolves in sheep's clothing in wolf clothing. Dean ends up involved. It brings Sam and Dean back together temporarily. Garth is okay. Garth has a wife. Everything's okay, but he's a werewolf time.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Frankly, this episode was written by Adam Glass, directed by John F. Showalter, and it originally aired on January 28th, 2014. And honestly, the only thing that I really have here in the long game is the fact that Garth is back and he's a werewolf living with a family of werewolves, right? Because literally that is what matters for this episode. The only other thing other than that is that like Dean tells Sam about the Mark of Cain, and he does it in such a matter-of-factly way that you're just like, this cannot be a big deal. This is just going to be like over in a couple of episodes.
Oh yeah, no, like I know that's not the case. I am so confident that is not the case. But the way he does it, like it's like having a friend who has like 100 tattoos, and they're like, "Oh, is that a new tattoo?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's a new one. Whatever. I was just bored the other day, and I went. A friend had a thing, and I just quick tattoo." It's like
it's a T-Rex throwing dice.
It's a T-Rex throwing dice. I would get that tattoo.
I would love to get that tattoo as well, actually.
Matching tattoos, dinosaurs and dice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Garth episode. What more do you want out of an episode? It has Garth in it. It has all of the Garth like charm and classics we need. It again, I love the fact that he is just like the best thing to like bring the boys together.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew the second Dean walked into that hospital and was like, looking for like small scraggly guy. He's like, oh, he's really popular. I'm like, I expected other hunters too, not just Sam, but I knew Sam would be there.
I honestly really it's funny because yeah, you're right. You say that he is the person to bring the boys back together, and it's kind of interesting because yeah, the last time that we saw Garth, it was in Party on Garth, right? When we had just lost Bobby and Sam and Dean just did not know what to do with themselves. And then before that, or no, that's not true. The last time we saw Garth was after the Leviathan thing, and Dean was in purgatory.
Right.
And Sam didn't come to save him. And that was a big deal. And Dean was really mad. And here it's kind of the opposite. Interesting. Anyway, let's move on to story time.
This week, our theme is companionship. I've heard it said that it's like human nature to want to be loved and accepted. And I think it's safe to say this extends to like other beings outside of humans. Like fairly blunt example being pack animals. I don't know why that's top of mind right now with this episode. We've watched the Winchester brothers like find companionship in the form of family many times, some longer than others. They do tend to form these packs of their own, and in doing so, protect and help each other like a family should. Losing a member of your pack or family to another can be difficult, but if needs differ enough or unforeseen circumstances arise, I don't know, like becoming a werewolf, the companionship we need can lead to changes. More than just the ones that occur during a full moon, that is. I do want to start with Sam this week. We're always going to get to everybody else, but let's start with the easy ones. It's an episode about found family and the importance of said family right after Sam and Dean have parted ways. Like, once again, the show is very simple when it comes to leading the viewer to the message of the week sometimes.
It's very in your face, especially in these kind of upcoming episodes, I find.
Even by this episode's end and like returning to the status quo of working with Dean, like he hasn't forgiven him. And while Dean wants a true return to form, like nothing ever happened, a bygones be bygones type solution, Sam's like not ready to accept that. He is doing something rather interesting here. He doesn't want to go back to everything's all right. He demands that things have to change.
This actually reminds me of when Sam did something similar after another one of the brother breakups. And this was in season 5 when they're like getting back on the road together, like right after Sam has opened Lucifer's cage. And Dean is having like a real hard time trusting him again. And I just love that Sam was like, no, we can't actually continue like this. Like something has to change. And here he kind of really does something similar. And I think it kind of makes me realize that like Sam's communication skills are so much better than Dean's. He's the one who's initiating the conversation, and he's also able to hold two truths at the same time. The first one being that he's like still pretty real fucking pissed off at his brother for what he did, right? And the second being that he also loves his brother and wants to be able to move past this. And we're going to talk about Dean a little bit, as soon as we finish with Sam. But you can tell that he is having a much harder time with this. But like Sam has no problem holding these two truths equally in his heart.
Which is, I mean, it's so important. It's so impressive, and it just shows so much growth. And I just love that Sam is finally breaking a cycle we've witnessed multiple times in these past multiple seasons. One of them or someone close to them screws up in some way, hurts those around them, and likely causes some pretty negative ramifications to those they hold close or the world in general, and eventually just like accept it was going to happen one way or another, or it was unavoidable. But no, he's like finally taking a stand, at least verbally making it very clear to us that something needs to change. And I think this is a huge moment of growth for Sam. Like just accepting things like because they're family, but instead he's choosing this family and making it clear it was not working for him, but is willing to put in the work if Dean is to try and rectify it. I mean, his goal is to get to a good spot, just not back to what it used to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that kind of comes back to what we were talking about last week about like finding the courage and the wherewithal not to just react to a situation the way that you usually would, but to kind of to try to take a step back and evaluate how you want to respond in order for that response to really align with your values and your vision of yourself and the life that you want to live.
Yeah, I mean, very blunt with the theme. Companionship. They are companions. They are partners in this hunting.
And the reality is that you don't always like your partner. You might, even though you always love them, you might not always like them because, oh my
100%.
God.
Exactly. But there is a line between how much you can put up with and differ and butt heads before it's like, no, things need to change. There needs to be a change to the system or this is not going to work. And this companionship, this connection, this relationship cannot move forward.
Exactly. And I think that Sam is like, I mean, it has to be him. He has to be the one to say it, right? Because Dean's not going to.
Oh, yeah, no. And again, Dean has been running solo for a while. It seems like he's been on his own for a little bit here. Like this, I vaguely understand there's been some time now since our last episode, and like he's only really taking this like co-op gig with Sam because it's Garth. And again, I guess he kind of did a co-op job with Crowley last week, but genuinely, it
Hmm.
seems like he's been on his own for the last little while. Um, but I mean, as much as we talk about like Sam obviously is feeling a lot of the pain, but Dean has also been getting hit pretty hard in the losing family game. First, nearly losing Sam, losing Cass, having to send said Cass away once reunited, Sam being hijacked by Gadriel, and then of course the death of Kevin, the loss of Sam as a companion as he is feels having Sam around will only lead to more near death scenarios and more chances to screw things up further than he already has.
Hmm.
And now also have the return of Garth, who for the last 6 months we find out has been missing. And while not living with Dean and his family in the bunker, he was always sort of in the orbit or around, like he's family adjacent.
I mean, there you go. Like that's the thing. I don't think that you need to be living in the bunker to be considered family in this universe, right? Like Charlie, for example. Charlie doesn't live there and she's still considered family, like very openly and very vocally.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I definitely think that Garth fits that description too.
Remind me, have Garth and Charlie met?
No.
Oh, I one day that'll be magic to watch if it ever happens.
Cass and Charlie haven't met either.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh shit, you're right.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for could the three of them get a spin-off episode? I would die.
I think Cass and Jody haven't met either.
Yeah, but like Jody's not a hunter and is like distant enough from the life that like I could understand her not meeting other like I mean, she's met Crowley, unfortunately, so really. Anyways, we've digressed. Sorry, I tangented there. I couldn't resist.
I
Um,
feel like I just blew your mind.
it's like the thing like when you and I used to work together, and I bring you up to people I've worked with since then, like because we worked in the same place forever, and they're like, I have no idea who that person is, and I'm like, but we all worked there together forever. But
Yes,
like
exactly.
10 years is a long time to split people up over different decades of years of working together. So I feel that 100%. Sorry. Yes. So Dean really feeling the loss of companionship this season. I think he sees Garth as like the one person who like has wronged him in this regard. Like everyone else left or was pushed away in a sense that like Dean couldn't really be angry at them. Like he kind of blames himself. But Garth vanishing with no notice, leaving Kevin unprotected and finding family in the things they are meant to be hunting, all sort of give Dean like this a thing he feels he's allowed to be mad at and is justified.
Oh my God. We are finally starting to explore Dean's anger. I'm so excited. Um, so yeah, I definitely think that Dean is like projecting a lot in his anger on Garth, not unlike what he did in Party on Garth in season 7, when he was just really so upset over Bobby's death, that he actually became upset when Garth was upset, like, and it sort of feels like Dean is in this moment anyway, like feeling such like fervent anger that he's just trying to push everyone away. Like he's walked away from Sam and Cass, he's threatened Crowley away, and now he's just like yelling at Garth, right? And just being very overall rude to Garth's family. And it just really feels like Dean hates himself so much right now that he just can't understand why other people would not hate him, right? So he's making himself like as unlikable to them as he possibly can. And there's something really heartbreaking about pushing your loved ones away. Like, Dean, please don't fall down the John rabbit hole. Like, please don't do that.
The man has hurt you enough and left enough horrible impressions on you. Dodge this one, please.
I know, right?
Ugh.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
I will say I think ultimately like I think Dean does kind of learn that family isn't just the ones you're born with or the ones forced into your family due to circumstance. But sometimes when one's needs begin to differ from their families, it's natural to leave and seek those who better align with you. I'm hoping the goal with that is he learns that he needs to change so him and Sam can keep working together, not just let Sam be gone. But Dean can't just go back to normal. Things between him and Sam have changed, and unless he wants Sam to leave too, he needs to find out how they can realign on what matters. If they want to remain Sam and Dean.
I think that Dean is also learning to cope with people he loves, making choices for themselves that he would not make for them. Because that's what happened with Sam at the beginning of this season, right? Like Sam had made the decision to accept his death, and Dean just could not accept that decision, and he took action. He took things into his own hands. And here, Garth made the decision to accept his lycanthropy and to settle with other werewolves. And Dean, at the beginning anyway, like again, cannot accept that decision. And I really think that it says something about his view of companionship and relationships as being completely fusional, where like the individuals involved have to be constantly aligned. And it just feels like there's a lot of black and white thinking in there. And it also shows, in his codependent relationship with Sam, like the most, I think, anyway.
Oh yeah, I think there is like I think the big takeaway I'm getting from Dean this season and this episode's really kind of like hammering the point home is I think fusional is such a great, I've never heard the term used in this context before, and I love it. That it really is this like everything needs to be like one to one. Like I think you often hear like again to like move into other types of relationships, like dating relationships, which is not what they have. But there is that thing where it's like you need to have your own things that are separate from each other, like the things that you do on your own or are not necessarily like for you and your partner. I think it kind of goes in like any relationship in any kind. You like a clone of yourself is going to be boring or difficult to put up with, or you'll find your faults. I like he just assumes Sam needs to be on all the same pages as him, and he's now learning that that isn't the case, and you can differ on things. And I think Garth is the extreme example of like we can still be friends, even though I hunt monsters and you married one and live with them and are, I guess, one.
And you are one.
Yes.
There you go. Exactly.
Speaking of our best boy, Garth.
Oh,
So we find out he's been gone for like 6 months. Again, I guess like in all this time and stuff, like it's true. He just sort of vanished one day from his bunker boat.
hmm
And even more shocking than the 6 months of being away is he's a werewolf and married, and
hmm
part of a lycanthropic religious family. Like big shift. It makes sense why maybe his old life was not suited to mixing with his new life, and he chose to be quiet about it. Like I get it. I get it, Garth.
You don't say.
Yeah, like he came across, still does, as such like a happy person to be working with Sam and or Dean, because he's someone who truly cherishes his connection to others. Like we see it too in how he speaks of Bobby after his passing last time we met him in that episode that we met, the episode of title which you mentioned moments ago and I forgot already. But like he looked up to him and more so wants to be like him, someone that others can rely on and reach out to in moments of need, like a true companion to all. That's Garth's goal.
And I think that that was really telling, actually, because like right after Bobby's death, I think that it could have easily been assumed that the Winchesters would be the one to carry on his legacy by doing the work that he was doing, like answering the fake FBI calls and dispatching hunters and like doing research and all. But that didn't actually happen for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Garth that chose to do that. And I think that one of the reasons that Garth did it was because he really understood better than anyone else the need for connection and companionship in hunting. Because on Supernatural, hunting is often represented as like through like silent, rugged guys on the road by themselves, like, but we know that that's not the reality of it because like they're often in touch with other hunters, they're with the bodies of the hunting world and whatnot, and everybody seems to like know each other. So clearly there is this community that is happening. And I think that Garth is the one to really understand that.
To then find like himself faced with a fate worse than death, which I think most hunters would consider this to be, becoming a monster, but
Mhm.
more so becoming something that anyone he once held dear in his heart would probably kill on sight, like without a moment's notice. It's like I imagine unbearable. He doesn't look for a cure. He doesn't look for help. He takes the next step into his own hands and plans to end his life.
And it just makes me so sad that he didn't actually reach out for help to his hunter friends because, like I said, he was there for them, and he knew that the moment that he became a werewolf, like those relationships were basically over, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I can't imagine, like, I want to dream of a scenario where he calls Sam and Dean and like it becomes a let's find a cure episode, or like,
Mm,
how do we make this work for you? But I think Garth's mind, like you said, it's just very much like if any of them find out, they know the only solutions to hunt me, so I may as well take
hmm.
care of it for them.
Yeah.
Um, which makes it all the more fitting that the only reason he's saved is by finding companionship in new places. A community of folks like him who have learned to live peacefully in the world, something he up until this point didn't even know was an option. Um, I think there's a really obvious message here about prejudice. Like, Dean is just like mega asshole mode when Garth has him over to meet his new family, fully going in with the assuming negative intent, like, which is
Yeah.
how Garth viewed monsters up until this point too. Uh, like, we as an audience know that monsters aren't always bad. We've seen covens of vampires who were not hunting humans. We had Amy, who did have her slip ups to save a child, but I will let that slide. But we know what most hunters don't consider and likely will never consider. The things they hunt aren't all bad. We know that. They don't want to admit it. And maybe it's the companionship of fellow monsters or loved ones that keeps them trying to find a place in the human world. Like, monsters just want to be loved too.
I mean, yeah. Literally, I'm thinking about like Monster Story or Monster Movie, I think it is, the black and white
Monster
episode.
movie, yeah.
I'm thinking about that, like, and I also think that there's a question here that's posed in this episode about the way that we ought to allow ourselves to be changed by the people that we love. And what I mean by that is that Dean would have never considered a friendship with a werewolf before, like ever. But now that one of his friends is a werewolf, he's he's literally at a crossroads. Like, does he sever the relationship or does he change his worldview enough to allow this relationship to continue?
Oh, I love that. Again, just like really hitting on the head what we're talking about so beautifully there at the end. Thank
Mm.
you.
Oh, thank you. What are your story thoughts actually for like this episode?
I mean, so many. One, I was so convinced we were gonna like lose Garth by the end of this episode, and I would have been
Mm.
inconsolable. Like, the shot of the end as Dean kills his stepmother-in-law, I was convinced she was going to hit either Bess or Garth, and either one would have sent me into a mad rage.
Mm.
Um, I also love how Garth brings Sam and Dean together so quickly. Like, he really is so special to them. Like, it's amazing how, like, I think we've joked in the past how, like, when he's not around, they kind of like rag on him a little bit,
Yeah,
like in a loving, like, little brother kind of way of like,
of
you believe
course.
this dork?
Yes.
But like, as soon as he like needs their help, they are like instantly by his side.
The dork needs us.
What a dork! Yeah, what a dork! You just my dork.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
And I also love, like, again, we said at the top, Dean just drops the Cain, the Mark of Cain thing info on Sam, sort of like, whatever, it's nothing. Like, obviously, it's something. We'll deal with this when we get there, but I'm so
Oh my
excited.
God. Yeah, I know. I love how Sam
Uh,
is just like, what? And Dean is like, oh yeah, whatever. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. And Sam is just like, excuse me.
it really feels like my story thoughts from last week are going through Sam's head of like, wait, Cain's real? That's a story that really happened? Wait, he's
Yeah.
on this earth still? Wait, he started
Yeah.
the Knights of Hell? Wait, he gave you his mark? What, there's a knife you're getting now? Wait, you and Crowley worked together on this one?
Uh,
Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
speaking of just dropping knowledge, new lore, like lycanthropy is hereditary. Like, I don't know. That's cool to know. Um, does that extend to any monsterisms that come through infection? Like, if I do
If you
vampires
contract
have
vampirisms,
vampire
for
kids?
example.
Yeah, no, like, legit question. Can vampires mate? Can they have vampire kids? Can they have half vampire kids? If a werewolf marries a non-werewolf, is it like a 50-50 chance, or is it like, does it take the gene? Like, I need the DNA results here, please. Uh, but again, it goes even further. Like, I love the exploration of like the culture of different monsters. Like, I know we don't really get much of it here. It's kind of like background lore, but like the whole like connection to Fenrir from the Norse mythology. Or sorry,
Mhm.
they don't call him Fenrir. They use a different pronunciation of it. I know it as Fenrir, the wolf creature. but like I love tying it to like
Hmm.
a well-known piece of like mythology about a wolf that already exists, and like there's like sects and religions that like worship it and have beliefs on it. I'm like, I'm eating this up with a spoon.
I agree.
Um, I also love the not so subtle jab at John here, as we see a father figure who chose not to take revenge and has thus found a loving family and a life. Crazy.
I know, right? I know. It's almost like John did have a choice.
And made the bad one.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, Also, the Garth produced stage play of Supernatural. When do we get this?
I don't know. Maybe he'll become a theater director for a high school. You never know.
Oh my god, I would die. I did pull out this line just because it's so good. Everything that's gone wrong is because we're family. Fucked me up.
I so disagree with that line, but I understand why he says it. But I'm like, that, no, it's not because you're family, it's because you're codependent. That is different.
Yes, the way I took it though is I think what Sam is saying is everything that's gone wrong has been allowed to happen because we're family and we look past things that we should not otherwise look past in each other. We are letting the we are family thing take priority over we are fellow human beings who should respect each other and do things
Right.
properly.
No, no, no.
But I also understand what you mean though. I think it's
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
out of
There's
context.
room
It
for
could be
both, I think, in this moment.
yes. Shades of gray.
Almost.
Also, like the Cain and Abel shit is not subtle here. Like again, like not knowing the story from my childhood, but like even like not knowing it, just the brief notes I've gotten from you and a few other people I've chatted with since then, like oh my god, the Cain and Abel allegory here with Sam and Dean, and like I'm sure it's gonna go even more blunt than that down the line. I'm
Mhm.
excited for it.
So let's start with a little bit of etymology on the word companionship. So it comes from the word companion, which comes from Latin com, meaning with, and panis, meaning bread. So literally, with bread or breaking bread with, sharing a meal. And that's really interesting because we have the phrase in the episode, let's break bread together. So it actually carries this idea of like maintaining or building relationships, but it also carries like trust, sharing, and conviviality. Noticeably, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle referred to Sherlock Holmes and John Watson as companions. And so I really love that one of the main scenes in this episode is a shared meal. And it's a complicated meal, to say the least. To draw a little bit from personal experience, as you all know, my sister recently got married. It was a very small, very intimate. I think you could call it like micro wedding if you wanted to use like trendy words or something you could look up on Instagram or Pinterest. Because we were like 40 people eating food that they had made with some of our help. And I am definitely counting myself in the sum of our help. I definitely helped make food. And we were like around a really long table under the acacias, and we were in their backyard. And the thing about this meal is that it was also like a really complicated one. First, because there weren't a lot of resources to help bring it together, right? Like there was no catering service, there was no service team. So a lot of work had to go into it, and a lot of the work had to come from like people who were there. Another thing was that there were people there who, if they had had it their way, would absolutely not be sharing a meal together. And some of those details are not mine to share, but to give you an idea, like my parents had not spoken or seen each other or spoken to each other in like 15 years. And
Damn.
they had to be at this table together, like not next to each other, but like in each other's presence. Um, and what I really love about this is that the love that they have for my sister, and hopefully me too, a little bit,
Oh.
meant that they made sure to behave. And trust me, that was not a given. Like there were definitely talks with both of them separately. There were sleepless nights, like I'm just thinking about how Garth had to like make excuses for Dean. Like this is something that could have potentially really, really happened in this case. But they loved my sister more than they hated each other in that moment anyway. And I don't know, like I know some people are going to say like that the bar was on the floor, but again, like that was not, it was not a given that it was going to go well. And I find a lot of similarities between my sister's wedding reception and the meal that Dean shares with Garth and Bess's family. Because first of all, they had to like they had to be accommodated, right? Because Dean is the one who was the outsider, like the weird one, not the werewolf family. Like they were on their turf, they were in their home. They had to serve Dean a different meal because he doesn't eat like raw cow hearts, right? He doesn't eat raw meat. Um, yeah, so he also had to be told about like, or he was also seeing like customs at the table, like the people, how people were eating their meat, etc. And like, it was just interesting to see Dean be a guest in this kind of space. And the meal goes how it goes, but it also creates an opening for Dean to be like in the physical proximity of Bess's family and therefore to better understand them. And I think that that's what companionship really brings in this episode, like an opportunity to better understand those who are different from you or who make different choices from you. And of course, like there's only so far that that can stretch, right? Like, let's be clear, there are boundaries to that. Because there's definitely people in this world that I would absolutely refuse to break bread with. But in this particular case, I think that it was a very valuable experience for Dean. So here's my question for this week. How does Supernatural as a show uses acts of shared hospitality, like meals, for example, to explore ideas of belonging and trust?
Oh, that's a fun one because we've seen, like, again, we've seen both Sam and Dean's relationship to food, but then when that extends to the people around them, and it feels, you know what, it's the most real thing. It's like one of those things that's so easy to connect to because I think we've all been there where we want to share our food with somebody, whether it be this is a restaurant I really love or this is something I cook that I'm really proud of. We've done that with each other. Like I love your cooking and your baking. And I think we see it here in just so many little moments. Like I'm really having a moment where I can't find the one I want, but I know there is a moment where I think it's a burger. I know Dean gets a burger for Sam and Sam accepts it, even though he's kind of in a being a little better about the food he eats phase. And like, I think he's like, he's being like possessed. He's being possessed by like a young witch or something in the episode with the high schoolers who are getting into witchcraft.
Yeah.
And he offers him the burger and he
it's the
accepts
Freaky
it.
Friday episode.
Yes. And like, I know for us as an audience, it's like, oh, Dean, like put two and two together. Sam's like not, like wouldn't normally eat this burger because it's greasy and full of bacon and fat. But in that moment, he's like, no, I don't care. My brother wants to enjoy something that I like with him and we can have a shared moment here. It's the best.
Yeah.
And like my brothers and I too, when I go back to Montreal and visit like my family, my brother and I always find like some out of the middle of nowhere, like you've never heard of Casse-Croûte, a little place on the side of the street to go get a hot dog and a poutine because that's like what we do. We love it. Sharing our little cultural food thing together. But yeah, the show, to answer the question, does it really well. It takes these like little micro moments of just like the PB&J with Cass and just like how it meant so much to him to have this thing and then having it taken from him. And like it hurts because it was something he just liked because it was simple and easy. We've talked regularly about Sam's relationship with food and how just controlling what he eats and knowing what he's putting in his body makes him feel better. And the rare time he gets to like share that, even if it's forcefully with Dean during the whole Leviathan arc where the food and everything was pretty much poisoned.
Yeah.
Like he takes pride in like, let me cook for you. Let me make something good for you. Like
he's like, this is an apple.
He jokes almost, but he's like, I get to like cook for my brother and be in charge of the food for a bit. Let me make it fun for him. Because it is a way of bonding and connecting with people. And I mean, to give one last example, because I'm rambling here, Death's whole thing with food.
Yes. Yeah.
His whole like always like eating something when he meets them. And like it's got to a point where like every time I see him now, I'm like, what are they going to be eating? And getting like, Dean actually goes out of like bring something to him to share. It's like, it's a language they both speak. It's a way that they can find common ground and feel like equals, even when you consider one is a horseman of the apocalypse and the other one is some human who just kills things because he's good at it and hunts to save people. Like there are pretty wild gaps here of class, but food brings us all together.
I love that. I also find that Supernatural uses like drinks as a way to do that a lot, right?
Oh
Like, do you want to
yeah.
get a beer or something? Like, hey, do you want me to pour you some whiskey? Like, this is actually going to become like a real thing eventually, and especially sharing meals. Oh my God, now I'm thinking about like the later seasons. Oh my God. I am again foaming at the mouth. Ah! Okay, we need to
I
move
mean, if
on
you're
because
that
I'm like
hungry,
freaking out. This week we have a message from Kat, and before we listen to it, we want to remind you to send us a 3-minute voicemail. We really need them. Please send them. So to respond to anything we discussed today or to ask us a question, you can use the recording app on your phone and email us the recording at carryingwayward@gmail.com. Now, for context, Kat had sent us two voicemails through, like with voice memos, but they also sent us an email, an accompanying email, I suppose, and we would like to read that out in order to answer what is in there.
Cat writes, I do also really miss the crossroads segments and would love to hear in general what are some story arcs you wish had been explored with more depth. One of the most frustrating things I find with the show is how many fascinating concepts it leaves to die on the vine, especially in regards to certain characters. So I'd love to know what's a storyline or a character you wish we had been seen taken further. Maybe Adam, Emma, Henry, Samuel, Rufus, Godstiel as a villain? The whole concept of the Leviathans. If maybe not every episode, I feel a crossroads in this season recap could be interesting because it does always feel like every season has a couple of big interesting routes that it could take, but has decided to steer around in favor of staying to the straight and narrow. Anyways, apologies for the mini essay. My supernatural excitement is gripping me. I do look forward to hearing any of your thoughts that you may choose to share, and I'm so excited to catch up with the rest of Carrying Wayward and to get to listen to your unfolding thoughts on the seasons yet to come. I especially cannot wait for you to get to the Carver era. The exquisite angst of some of those Robert Barron's episodes is some of the best Supernatural has ever achieved, in my opinion. Kindest regards and very best wishes, Kat.
Kat, thank you so much for this email. I we are first of all in the Carver era, so that's pretty exciting. We've had our first Bobo Barons episode ever. That's also pretty exciting, and I absolutely agree with you. Some of that angst is some of the best, I think, in all of Supernatural. But I'm like a Barons truther, to be honest with you. Like, and anyway, yeah, I am going to keep that phrasing. Um, Ooh, Crossroads. Okay. I I mean, in this season anyway, I do wish that they had spent more time exploring human Castiel. Especially in what kind of relationship human Castiel would have with Dean. And the reason I say that is that we had talked about how Dean has always kind of seen himself as like below Castiel, in part because Castiel is an angel, right? And Dean is quote unquote just a human. But then what happens to that relationship when the person who was on the pedestal is now no longer on that pedestal? And I've kind of hinted at that earlier this season, but I sincerely think that a part of the reason why they didn't have them together more was because they were like, how do we maintain platonic boundaries between them? Because, right? I don't know. Like it just feels like anyway, I guess that wasn't the question. But yeah, I do wish that there had been more of an exploration of that because there was basically none whatsoever. Um, and yet we had fucking Metatron on screen for like way too long.
Oh,
Anyway,
God.
so I think that I would definitely give up some of that Gadriel and Metatron bullshit away for more, human Castiel, even though I know we've had feedback saying that we shouldn't just give up stuff we don't like. But you know what? I don't care. This is my podcast. It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to.
You're making Bill the demon. It's gonna backfire eventually. You may as well try to give us something you don't like for something you do like, and just deal with the consequences later.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. So yeah, so there you go. I just really wish that they had explored that relationship a lot more than they did because they didn't at all. Except the only one who did a little bit was Bobo. And look at what happened. Anyway, I just can't. What about you, Drew? What are your thoughts about this? So thank you, Kat. Thank you.
Yes, I was going to say thank you to Kat as well. I love this. It's such a fun message. And, I really do like the idea of coming back to the crossroads, like not every episode. I think that was things that got like, it became very taxing to talk about a thing every week like that. But I like the idea of doing it kind of like retroactively, maybe season by season or something. I'm having trouble thinking of what to give up. And I think like the cheap answer is like, I would give up my time in there being more episodes per season or like spin-off series, like which is the biggest cop out ever. But like,
definitely, I agree. I gave up something at least.
There you go. The show can have more of my bloody time than it already gets, which is more than I was gonna say more than the average person, but I think honestly I'm probably under most people's hours still at this point. Even with the end of this project, I'll probably still be under most people's hours. But I could also see giving up some of the more one-off episodes in favor of exploring other characters. Like, I think we've had episodes like this one specifically where, yes, Sam and Dean are involved. Their story is reflected in the character of the week who is not the monster of the week. Although in this case, he kind of is both, weirdly. But this episode really explores Garth, his relationship, and we then kind of reflect on Sam and Dean through Garth. I would love to lose maybe some of the more one-off episodes that aren't really plot heavy to get more time with other characters and having those same explorations of their character, their story, their life, and letting us use it as a sounding off board for how do we now use that information to look at Sam and Dean. And I have a very specific character in mind for this because they got way too little screen time, died way too early, and I feel like could have been a great exploration of character, especially if they got a chance to meet Cass. Victor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I miss Victor. Oh, it's true. Dean's first boyfriend on the
I know.
show.
But I think like, again, even if we like the show plays out the way they do, where like they keep a like regular like friendship, or maybe it's like letter writing or email, or like whenever they cross paths in towns, it's get a beer. And then eventually introducing him to Cass and being like,
And
this
Cass
is my
immediately hating
current
him.
boyfriend. Yes. Oh my God, yes. No, you're right. It would definitely be one of those. And then, there'd be like that moment where like, oh, but it would be that thing where like Cass and Victor would like find a thing in common. Like it turns out Victor also is really into bees. And it's like, oh, I can't hate you. You like bees.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, like, yeah, like there's a lot of characters we like, I would love to get more Jodie time, but like the time we do get with her is nice. We do get to explore her character a little bit. We got like, her episode this season does a lot to show how she's grown since the incidents with Crowley, and it does allow us to reflect and learn. But like, I feel like characters like Victor just didn't get as much value out of them as they could have as characters. Saying nothing for being one of the few characters of color who was like a mainstay on the show in any way, shape, or form, especially in a positive role. I don't know. I'm sure there's others. I mean, I would love. Heck, if you told me that tomorrow they announce the 17th season reboot of just the Garth show, I'll be there day one every episode.
Fair enough. Same. So, Drew, what did we learn in this episode?
It's a Garth episode. It's only a positive message. I learned that love is everywhere. Not that I think I really need to learn that, but just to reiterate it.
Yeah.
Even the places we don't think love can be found, like love can grow anywhere.
Oh, love actually is all around.
Yeah. And you, Mary, what did you learn this week?
Again, not really something that I learned per se, but just like a nice thing to reiterate is feed people, bring people food, share food. I think there's some actual real magic in that.
Food and love. Food and love.
That sounds kinky.
「 「
This was Carrying Wayward, a supernatural podcast produced by Rochelle Castellano, hosted by Marie Vigourou
and Drew Schulman. Thank you to everyone supporting us on Ko-fi or Patreon,
including our bunker patrons, Jeremiah Thomas and Michelle.
We'd also like to thank Jake Lionheart for our music.
Head over to carryingwayward.com to become a patron or a Ko-fi subscriber, and for our merch store and our socials. And write us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Carry on our wayward friends.